Hello and welcome back to Versus Live. That's Ross Marion. I'm Todd Anderson.
That's
got
true.
Taylor over in the booth. So hi, Taylor.
Yep.
Oh, you're supposed to say hi, Taylor.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Taylor.
There it
I'm
is.
Dad.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. We are, of course, brought to you by StarCityGames.com as well as Carnox Chairs. We got these sweet new gaming chairs. I'll make sure to check out Carnox.com/SCG. Carnox.com/SCG, and it'll take you to the website, as well as give us a little kickback. I think if you buy them with that link, that's the affiliate link.
This is me doing a kickback.
Is that you? You feeling good over there?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be feeling good because you ain't won a match in like 2 years.
Yeah, well, maybe you should miss your second land drop a few times. See how you like it.
See, I do the thing where I always play Serum Vision, so I just like never miss my second land drop. You should know you're a Serum Vision aficionado.
You tell me about playing Serum Visions. I think I might have cast more Serum Visions in the last year than anyone in the world.
Yeah, so we have one. Well, maybe. Wow. So currently we are 1-0 in matches on my side, playing for the marbles. Hopefully gonna win today. But if I lose them, you know what? It's fine. It's about time. We had Blue Moon face off against Ross's, or I guess Edgar Magalhaes's Devoted Druid Finale Devastation combo deck, where you make infinite mana and kill your opponent.
You let me down, Edgar. He must have left the chat. That's why I didn't make a second land. He left the chat. Edgar, why? Why would you do that?
How do you know that he left the chat? Were you stalking?
I don't know.
Around?
Taylor, is he still?
He had stopped talking as soon as Ross stopped hitting land drop. Maybe he left because you weren't hitting land drops.
That can't be it. He was gone long before that.
So that was match one, where Blue Moon actually won all 3 post-sideboard games, mostly in part to Ashiok Dream Render. Shutting down the search abilities were key. Exiling your graveyard had quite an effect against things like Eternal Witness and the like. And, ultimately just couldn't quite cut it for the post-war games, even though you smushed me 2-0 in the first 2.
Yep. So big turnaround there. And now we've got another control deck on Todd's side, Azorius Control, one of the top decks we've seen for the last month or so of Standard. Mm-hmm. The Planeswalkers from War of the Spark have been great additions. Now we get to see Force of Negation, which really helps you tap out for the bigger Planeswalkers, the Fairies, the Jaces, and then protect them on your opponent's turn. So we'll see. Not as relevant in this matchup. This is this feels like it's going to be like the Legacy Miracles versus Death and Taxes, which is a really interesting matchup. So I hope this one's pretty fun. And my version of Death and Taxes is closer to the Miracles version because I'm playing Stoneforge Mystic.
What are we calling it before we start?
So we couldn't decide on a name.
So we were trying to decide between, Blade and Taxes, because it's kind of like a Stoneforge Mystic, harken back to the Stoneforge Mystic days. We ended up calling it Boros Taxes on the boring spreadsheets or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I decided to jump in and call it Boros Blades and Taxes Oh My.
See,
I'm sure Cedric's gonna love that one.
Yeah. But tell us about this deck, because your deck is going to be the star of the show here. This deck specifically wants to try to use Goblin Engineer like Stoneforge Mystic. Tell us how you do it.
Yeah. So Goblin Engineer puts the artifact in your graveyard and then can turn an artifact on the battlefield into a artifact from your graveyard with CMC 3 or less. Mm-hmm. So we got a couple swords to find. Can't get Batterskull.
You got some extra Ether Vials to get rid of sometimes.
Yeah. We got Sword of Fire and Ice and Sword of War and Peace to get. One provides good card advantage, interacts with the battlefield. One is really helpful in racing scenarios.
Did you consider either of the other new swords that were just previewed out of Modern Horizons? I
looked at every sword and considered how the abilities work. The Azorius one, Sword of Truth and Justice, we're not really proliferating. By the time you can proliferate onto Vial, but by the time you're putting a sword and connecting, that's not super relevant. I can't remember what the other one is called. The black red one.
It's like something and something.
But they seemed kind of weak. The other one I was closer to playing was Light and Shadow, the other original one. Okay. I almost played both Darksteel ones. So, but I ended up going with the one that's a little bit better in a racing scenario. Because I think that's going to be important. That dichotomy. I've got one that grinds, one that races. So,
wait. So you're not feast and famining?
No.
Okay.
You don't really have a lot with your lands.
Yeah, I think Fire and Ice makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, we got one creature land, one Needle Spires in the deck, which is sweet when you hook a creature land to it. Back in the day, I used to play 2 Sword of Feast and Famine in my Esper Delver deck, Lingering Souls and Creeping Tar Pit. Yeah, putting Sword of Feast and Famine on a Tar Pit is nice. Let me tell you.
You don't gotta tell me.
That was very
I got
early,
chills.
early in Modern, back when you could do nonsense like that. But so this deck, the genesis of it actually came from a tweet I read the other day from Willie Edel, talking about Goblin Engineer as Stoneforge Mystic, saying he was impressed by Giver into Goblin Engineer. And I'm like, that sounds really cool. And I brewed a deck.
Well, we already have seen Giver of Runes be quite good with a number of 2-drop creatures, and I think this is just another on the long list where if you can get the pieces to work right, I think it's going to be quite good. And in a deck that gets to play Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, and Goblin Engineer, having these 2 different powerful 2-drops to protect with Giver gives it a lot more utility.
Yes, and so we've got to play, in addition to those 2-drops, we've got to play several cards that create incidental artifacts. We've got Vial,
Thraben Inspector,
Blade Splicer, PN Kieran Nalar that all make artifact tokens. We've got 3 copies of Darksteel Citadel. So hopefully that's enough. I tried to squeeze in the 4th, but the mana really wanted the extra colored source.
Sure.
Because of PN Kieran Nalar, really.
Do you think about maybe just like kind of going a little harder on things like Chromatic Star just because? I mean, it's not great, but it does get that ability to like draw a card when you sacrifice it with the Goblin Engineer.
Yeah, that seems more cute than anything else to me.
Sure,
and space was a little tight. This list is a little higher on removal than traditional Death and Taxes. You know, getting that second color means we get to play Lightning Bolt. So I got 4 bolts, 2 paths in the main.
Sure.
A couple more paths on the sideboard. So there's a little extra removal. In order to fit all these cards, we actually cut a staple of the archetype in Lean and Arbiter, which allowed us to cut the Ghost Quarters and add in Darksteel Citadels and then make the mana base a little bit better. Full 4 copies of Sunbaked Canyon.
Cool, like that. So this is we're less taxing than a normal version because we don't have Leon and Arbiter, but you still have that Thalia, Guardian of Thraben that can really poke holes in your opponent's strategy. Giver of Runes with that powerful 2-drop Goblin Engineer as well as a Thalia. It looks like it could spell some problems here for this Azorius control deck.
Yeah, well, our threats are just significantly more powerful. We're not going to be as disruptive, but we're going to present way more powerful threats.
Yeah, and even with PN Kieran Nalar, you're going to make my Path Exiles a lot worse. And on top of that, you have 4 Sunbaked Canyon, so Path Exile just means you get to crack those with basically free will.
Yeah, I've got 3 basics. Maybe want another one. I wish I would have another one in this matchup specifically because of the combination of Field of Ruin and Path Exile. You always want a lot of basics against Azorius control, but 3 should be enough. We got Vials as extra mana as well. Plus, he can't even kill my Darksteel Citadels.
That's true.
Good luck Field of Ruining that.
That's true. All right, well, let's go ahead and get to the match and see who takes down. You good to be on the play?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yikes.
That's a yikes for me, dog. I will keep this hand.
I want a yikes, dog.
I'm going to keep this hand too. I don't really know what I'm doing. This is the first time I've actually played with this Azorius control deck. So on the draw, I think, or in the dark on the draw, I would 100% keep this no matter what. So, and now my hand doesn't work anymore.
Pass there.
Ooh.
Oh, this card is definitely good in this matchup.
Play another Vial.
Okay.
Fast turn.
Opt. Sure. Go.
End of turn, crack fetch, go to 19. Going to get a tapped Sacred Founder here. Definitely want to avoid fetching out any basics myself. Leave as many in there as possible for all these paths and Field of Ruins. And if it costs me some extra life, that's not a problem. Life total not under a lot of duress against the Azorius control deck.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm just going to shortcut these Vials. We're going to end up with 1-on-2 and 1-on-1.
Just trying to make crazy. Here.
Let's play a Blade Splicer. Going to 19 from Canyon.
18.
Or 18, yeah.
Yeah.
Blade Splicer resolves.
Get a Golem token and pass the turn.
Not what am I afraid of? Like Goblin Engineer off the Vial seems quite good. I don't know if I can really do a whole lot about it. I'm just gonna have to fight through this stuff. So I can Field of Ruin his Sunbaked Canyon, which gives me the extra white I might need next turn. and then oust the golem, so I take less damage overall. I don't hate that, but like the problem is he's getting to the point where he's going to start going off with his vials. My vials.
My vial.
All right, let's pop the Sunbait Canyon.
Okay, I'll go to plains.
Yeah, me too. And then I'll oust targeting the golem.
So I gain 3, go to 21.
Yep. Here we go.
End step, activate vial on 1.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yeah.
End step, activate vial on 2.
Yeah.
Best thing.
Oh, man. This is pretty cool. I'm really scared of this card, actually.
Definitely going to go for the Sword of Fire and Ice in this matchup. Definitely want to be drawing as many cards as we can. Now, there's some question as to how I want to work these vials. We're definitely going to move them both up, and then based on what we draw, we can decide which one to leave. Hopefully we'll draw a Flicker Wisp. And we're going to get this party started.
Sorry, Chad, I should have that on the screen.
What, the engineer?
Yeah.
It's a new car. It's fine. People wants to know.
Okay. Let's move...
Response.
Are you surgicaling?
Oh, no!
I didn't know it targeted. I thought it exchanged like the old, what you call them? I'm really sorry. I did not. I actually drew this like 2 turns ago, and I thought, man, this card's dead.
How could this
Happen to me? How quickly I was replaced. No, you only have 1. I know your deck list. It's fine. Random deck. This isn't the graveyard.
That's a yikes from me, dog.
So Bolt Path, Sunbaked Canyon.
The sadness will last forever.
Hold on, I need to get to the Ross shot just for memes later.
Sorry. I believe you. I think you said it in French. L'électricité durera toujours, something like that.
What'd you just call me?
The sadness will last forever is the deathbed words of Vincent van Gogh. However, you're supposed to pronounce his crazy Dutch name.
Vincent van Gogh?
Yeah, it's like
I know.
a letter that is hard for English speakers to pronounce because it's not quite an H, but it's kind of throaty. But it's not Van Gogh. I'm just being pretentious.
I agree.
That's the last refuge
I'm at 18.
after getting blown out by that.
You're at 21.
We're gonna pop this canyon right now, so
Yeah.
Todd isn't aware if we have a good 3 or not. Attack for 1. We also drew a card we want to cast, so play with Raven Inspector and get a Max McFeedy.
Okay, I'm at 17.
You can go. We do have 3 power at least.
Blast Zone.
Blast him.
Oh.
Your turn.
Let's pop this clue.
Yep.
Draw a card.
I miss clues.
And pass the turn.
Oh, crap.
It's not a Lancer. I will mute your mic.
Never getting rashed again. All right, so I can just pop this Blast Zone to get rid of the Ether Vial, which makes the trickiness of his draw a bit weaker. And I think I'm just going to go and do that.
Response activate.
I guess I'll do it on your upkeep. It's fine. Pass turn.
End of turn activate.
That resolves.
Nothing.
Okay. Now when you're tapped out, after you said nothing, then
Sure.
I'll blow it up. Your turn.
Why do you activate that and not
Just-
bring in nothing?
Send a message. I mean, I might do something in response because, like, there are some creatures with like powerful enters the battlefield effects or static effects. Like, for example, if he had it on 2 and he activated it, I would probably in response pop Blue Delta in case he had Leon and Arbiter, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you care about time, there's just no reason not to activate it. Then when you have something, it makes them think.
Yeah.
I will play an Arid Mesa and an Aether Vial
Tilt.
and a Thalia Guardian of Thraben.
In response, I'm gonna fetch. I'm gonna play an Opt.
You're at 16.
Hey Todd, is that oust still in your hand? George. Oh, sorry, no, George.
George, Butler, call that George.
I'm just going to do this now. Todd knows the 2 cards in my hand. He saw them off the surgical, so there's no reason to bluff here. I'm at 20. And you're at 16. You're at 3 cards in hand?
I'm casting the opt and going down to 3. So,
so you're going to end up at 4.
End up at 4 after the... Do I want the land? Against the Thalia, perhaps. We are taking care of it this turn. So... I think I just bottom. Untap. Draw. I will... pass it.
I will get a mountain.
Okay, your turn.
I want to leave the plains in my deck because I have non-Arid Mesa white fetch lands. So I have 2 Windswept Heaths or something. And there's 1 plains left in my deck. As far as basics go, you got 4 cards over there.
4 cards.
It's not going great.
No, the surgical was kind of unfair. I actually feel super bad about it.
Also, 3 Aether Vials.
Yeah.
So this goes 1.
But you did get to turn 1 and potentially into the sword, I think that's one of the drawing points for Goblin Engineer in this style of deck is that extra Aether Vials actually become those powerful artifacts out of the sideboard. Maybe you need more just like cool artifacts to search up that aren't swords that you can bring back, but I don't know. I mean, various artifact creatures, the only thing I can really think of.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Maybe I have to... I think Todd probably just has a Logic Knot in his hand, so I'll just pass.
You fool! Go.
2.
Yeah.
Give her runes.
Okay.
Pass.
Pop your Sacred Foundry.
Get a plains.
No, I think I'm just going to snap Caster Mage, opt, looking for a Planeswalker of some sort. I know he has Bolton Path in hand still, and he has 1 card I don't know, I believe, right?
Yeah, I have 3 cards.
All right. I could get blown out by Thalia, Guardian of Thraben here, but I'm going to go for Snapcaster and then target the opt.
Yep.
Okay, cool deal. Cast the opt.
Yep.
Another Snapcaster Mage. I guess I'll just keep it because it's good. Draw for turn. That's also good.
Stop saying that.
That's pretty good.
It's like my whole deck. All right. Jace.
Yep.
Just going to take out the player on the bolt because in order to kill the Jace here, he has to go like play a creature off the Aether Vial, bolt, or pat this attack and bolt it. So I'm going to target you. Top.
Tilt.
Go. It's not that bad, but it's not good.
This goes to 3.
Yep.
Flicker Wisp, your Jace.
Comes back during the instep, and he's
with 3 and step and then bolt it.
Yep.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Good play.
Nicely done.
Good answer.
Actually, I should play this too. No, you have Verdict in the Yard, so you can go.
How to play this turn. That Flicker was quite cool, not gonna lie. So this is active now, so I can't target the Flicker Wisp.
Flicker Wisp does a lot of cool stuff.
I'll just play this and attack.
Got 18.
Had you at 21
I fetched at 1 point.
Okay. So 16 to 18?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. You won't crack it?
Attack for 3.
13.
Crack it.
Sure.
Raven Inspector.
Sure.
Get a Max McVitie. Pass the turn.
So, I know both.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know my hand. Fetch brings you to 12.
Yeah.
Todd still hasn't assembled any sort of card advantage here, which gives me some hope. Excuse me.
Okay.
You're good.
Sorry.
Block.
Okay. There's a lot of like playing from the hand. I don't really know how to approach like what Ross is doing, but we're gonna sphere this.
I guess I can play around Snap Oust by targeting in response.
Sure.
Aim white. Actually, hold on. With that trigger on the stack, let's see if I can hit another Flicker Wisp.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I did not. So, pro white.
Yep. Go on your upkeep. I will pass on the Flicker Wisp. I'll do it upkeep so it's tapped. And...
No more basics left, so... Okay.
Sure.
Pass.
Sorry I'm late. Good?
Yep.
Draw.
Fair, you never had an appointment.
Moved ends up. Untap these two. You're up.
Ooh.
Get over this. Hurry!
That's very presumptuous of Teferi. Sorry I'm late, but hurry.
Yeah. I don't know all the lines from the new Teferi, but I've heard a lot of
slightly
lines.
higher pitch because he's young Teferi.
Hurry! Yeah, 12.
12.
Yeah. I have you at...
You're at 12,
I have
right?
you at 18, I'm at 12. I have me at 13, but I assumed that I fetched and missed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Attack you.
Attack me. I'm at 11.
You can go.
What in the world? I'm going to untap.
Yep.
Draw. Draw card.
Yep.
Moved in, sub trigger, float. Blue, white. Go.
Sack it.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
Stare down. The tumbleweed goes across the pavement.
All right, drop. Minus on the vial.
Response activate.
That resolves.
Put in a splicer.
Yep.
Get a golem.
Yep. Snap verdict. This goes grave. Verdict gets exiled. No one taps. Your turn.
Goblin Engineer.
Counter unless you pay 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Okay. Bolt your Teferi.
Darn. Force a negation it.
You're up.
I'm not a professional Magic player, but do you laugh like that if you're playing in a tournament?
Yes.
Good to know.
Sometimes. All right, draw a card. Cast Opt. Cast Opt.
Exile both, they say?
Sure.
Yeah, the force negation exiles.
I got it, chat. Okay, it's a new card.
Here we go. Look, we already had this problem once. It's fine.
Yeah. Thraben Inspector.
Sure.
Get a max defeating.
Yeah.
Now, I know the top card of my deck is Vial, so let's play a fetch and crack it.
My Vial.
I'm pretty sure there's only 2 Sacred Foundries, if I remember
Vial.
correctly.
11.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and I did pop one. It kind of happens against these Azorius decks because they give you all your basics. Sometimes they use Field of Ruin on your duels and just kind of run you out of stuff to search up. It doesn't matter that much. Like, I don't think you can utilize the extra mana at this juncture, but
if I draw a P and Kieran off this clue.
That's true. You just cast it.
I did. Okay, so I will cast this one.
I like it.
Guess I'll just snap and Logic Knot for 1.
Pass the turn.
I'll keep it from getting an extra card off the Thraben Inspector. Draw a card.
Yep.
Fletchran, crack, go
You're
to
at 10.
10, get a tapped Hallowed Fountain, attack for 2.
Take 2. 16.
Had you at 17 going to 15 because you cracked your
Sure,
Arid Mesa?
yep. You're right. 15. Rather keep the Thraben Inspector around in case I draw more Flicker Wisps or Goblin Engineers. I can, or the last sword in my deck.
All right, your turn. Untap this.
Or Darksteel Citadel.
Or Darksteel Citadel. And ping this for 1.
Yep.
Okay.
You can go.
Draw a card. Play this. I'll pop a Sacred Foundry. And attempt, I guess, run them out of red. Attack for 2. Put you to 13. Pass the turn. Untap these 2.
Attack for 1.
Did 4.
Give her runes.
Sure.
You can go.
Draw. Yeah.
11.
So Narset. Minus the 3. Take cryptic commands, and it should be good enough.
Yeah, that's not.
And untap 2 lands during end step. Your turn. One of the problems with this deck is it just takes too long to
Send
win.
both at Narset.
Okay, I'll play Snapcaster Mage.
Sure.
I'll target Path Exile, and I'll block 1 and Path. Sorry.
I'll path that snap.
In response, I'll Vendilion click you.
I would give her runes.
You can keep it. You sent both it to Fairy?
No,
Or both at
Narset.
Narset. So this is exiled. I'm going to get a land. I'm going to path.
We're done here. We don't need to keep going.
All right. At any point, you are more than welcome to concede.
Yeah.
Hey, you might have milled out.
I was pretty close to milling out, but
Being that far behind with Todd on Cryptic Command.
the problem is I've fetched with Field of Ruin and stuff so much and actual fetch lands that, like, I would say I have like 4 lands left in my deck out of the 20 cards or whatever. It's pretty low. Multiple are Cryptic Command and Planeswalkers, but
All right, we're gonna definitely go to sideboard. We're at 247.
yeah. All right, well, we're going to take a short break here while we get sideboards put together. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
And welcome back here to sideboarding with the Boros taxes against Azorius control. On my side, it's a little awkward trying to figure out exactly what removal spells I want to leave in and in what quantity. The Path Exiles are important for answering Restoration Angel and Lyra. The bolts can help me deal with the Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit better at dealing with the Planeswalkers on my own. And I have a Phyrexian Revoker coming in, so I'm going to err towards beating the creatures. So I'm leaving in both paths. I'm leaving in one bolt. Because I don't want more than the 5 cards you see up top here. I think Giver of Runes is also pretty weak in this matchup. There's not a ton of spot removal coming out of Todd's deck, and and it has a lot of sweepers. So me extending this to protect against the spot removal runs me into Supreme Verdict and Wraths and things like that. So I'm trimming down on Giver of Runes. We got a couple Wear Tears, which can handle the Stony Silences in Todd's board. He only has 1, which is nice. Can also handle Detention Sphere. So I like these. A second copy of Direfleet Daredevil, which will target Todd's own paths a lot.
Yeah, but sometimes when the game goes late, you get to target stuff like Opt to just keep the gas flowing, or even Cryptic Command to like bounce draw.
Yeah, sometimes I target the spell that you target with Snapcaster by vialing the Daredevil into play. So definitely a great one in this matchup. Revoker to help against these Planeswalkers, and then we got one copy of Gideon Ally of Zendikar as our sort of anti-control big threat to go a little bit bigger here. So.
All right, our side, we're going to be cutting on the reactive cards a bit, playing a little more to the battlefield with things like Restoration Angel and Lyra Dawnbringer. Spell Pierce, Dovin's Veto, these kind of cards are not great in the matchup, especially on the draw, because if he just plays an Ether Ball on the first turn, locks Spell Pierce basically out of the game for the most part. And then Veto is going to be targeting reactive stuff like Bolt and Path and just doesn't have that many targets. Obviously, we'd love to have it against the Gideon, but with only 1, there's a good chance, we draw Veto and it does nothing. Yeah. The surgical extractions were pretty good against the Goblin Engineer, but I don't think that's really the type of card I want here. Like I can deal with those creatures pretty easily with sweeper effects. Ether Ball is going to be the main problem, so we're going to bring in Stony Silence to be able to potentially answer that. It also shuts down the swords, which is nice.
Shuts down Clue tokens and Darksteel Citadel as well.
Tomular Enforcements is quite good against the ground creatures that Ross is going to deploy. Wrath of God, obviously, you saw Supreme Verdict and Snap Supreme Verdict were really good there in game 1. And then we're going to basically try to curve that up into these big, expensive creatures. I'm not sure about cutting Vendilion Clique versus cutting something like Factor Fiction, but I haven't cast Factor Fiction yet in this new format, so we are just going to leave it in. Time Raveler just is going to basically come down, maybe bounce something and die, but maybe not if he has a Giver of Runes, so it's not going to be that good. That's about it.
Question.
Let's go.
Ross, was there any thought to Restoration Angel rather than Flicker Wisp?
Well, certainly not over Flicker Wisp because
it would be in tandem.
Yeah, Flicker Wisp is one of the key cards in the deck and just does so many different things that you're not going below 4 ever. And it would be over PN Kieran Nalar. And I like PN Kieran's ability to create multiple bodies to help you against spot removal. And I like the fact that it gives you even more ways to utilize incidental artifacts. You can throw the Clue token around a shock or throw your Darksteel Citadel at the end, extra Aether Vial. So there's a lot of utility with PN Kieran in the deck and then leaving the Thopters around to play around with Goblin Engineer and just create extra bodies for your equipment. Yep. Multiple bodies when you're playing a deck that is putting swords onto the battlefield in a reasonable portion of the games is also pretty valuable. So I think PN Kieran's a little bit better, but I do like Restoration Angel in this archetype. And then, the mono white version, I'd definitely play it alongside Flicker Wisp.
Excellent. A lot of good questions right now. Would a creature Spell Pierce be too good for Modern?
Just 1 blue counter creature spell.
Unless they pay 2.
Yeah, I think the reason Spell Pierce is fine in general, that kind of like trading up on mana for 1 is mostly because it's not ubiquitous in what it hits. You could maybe put it into Modern Horizons specifically. I would never want that style of card in Standard because I never want to punish someone for playing fair, if that makes sense. Like I want to punish people for playing unfair. And Spell Pierce does exactly that.
That card would definitely be messed up in Standard. People was like, maybe not this specific format.
It wouldn't be quite as good as like Mental Misstep or whatever, but it would be very close.
Yeah.
Excellent. Another one. How would the Azorius deck have to change to play Archmage's Charm?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I like Archmage's Charm quite a bit, but this version would have to like cut Field Ruin and all the colorless lands in general. You'd have to be really light on white mana. Probably have to even cut Celestial Colonnade just because of, even though it does tap for blue and white, it's just really hard to activate at certain junctures because you have so many basic islands in order to cast it. I think that leans itself a little bit more to like a blue-red deck because red is literally just splashing for removal spells most of the time. So
yeah.
You can keep asking questions while we're playing, but we need to go ahead and start so we can actually finish these matches.
My hand's solid. It's a little mana heavy, but we have ways to utilize extra mana, so it should be good. I'll shock to 18 and play Thread Inspector.
Okay.
Maxi boy. I've summoned you.
Go.
Maxi boy.
Maxi boy.
Attack for 1.
19.
Nice.
Darksteel Citadel, Thalia.
Okay.
Pass. Early Thalia, very good here.
Your go.
Attack for 3.
16.
Play Plains and Flicker Wisp.
Sure.
Flicker the Thraben Inspector. Got a second clue.
Okay. Cast Not for 2.
Yep.
Keep this. Tap, draw. Fetch the 15 and play Stony Silence. Pass turn. So it shuts down his clues and his citadel, but we're not really protecting ourselves from the creature on the battlefield. We're taking 6 this turn, at least down to 10. But I wanted
9. You fetched to 15.
You're correct.
So, yeah, attack you to 9, and then I'm going to fetch to 15, get the other Sacred Foundry.
And of course, his life total is not super really in jeopardy, and he wants to keep as many basics in his deck as possible against me.
And I'm going to play
Can't do that.
Hmm?
Darksteel Citadel's turn up.
Ah.
Snap. Caster.
I mean, you can certainly die for the Daredevil and get blown out with your own Thalia.
Screwed this up then. Forgot about the Citadel.
You can not shock. Whatever.
No. Let's undo that.
Okay, so you're
I'm at
back
18. This is tough. I'm a lot tougher now.
Ooh.
I'm just going to play it and exile the Opt. Pass the turn. Can't cast it because of the Thalia, but I want to... You have the Resto too. Why do you do this to me, Todd?
Do what? Play Resto. Go to 8.
Yep.
So now I have... so if I am able to move the blocks, which I assume I am because Ross is very sad right now. I have to choose between Thalia and Flicker Wisp. And Thalia, I think I can maybe play through, and Flicker Wisp represents a little more damage. So let's just block the Flicker Wisp. All right, I'll take 5 down to 8, or down to 3. Got a bolt.
Do not.
Okay.
But let's fetch down to 15. Now we'll go to 15.
Okay.
And
so the joke is that Ross is very far ahead still, and yet he is still very mad because I have put up a fight. I'm at 3. I'm going to basically almost get back into the game, and then he's going to be like, oh, my one of Lightning Bolt I left in my deck. You're dead. I have only timely reinforcements to gain life. It's right on top, though. I know exactly where it's at.
I'm going to play a Flicker Wisp, flicker that, and then while it's gone, draw a card.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
Pretty smart, little bro.
Just hope there's no Wrath here. Okay, I like the think. That's a good sign.
Go.
Okay, can't even get Cryptic. Can get second Resto is not enough. And you can't path snap path. But you can just play them both, like path here, trade here, eat here, go to 1. Land, please. Declare tax.
Sure. Path, Flicker Wisp, I guess. Play Snapcaster Mage.
Yep.
Block Thraben and Dahlia, go to 1.
That's all fine. So Snapcaster down.
Mm-hmm.
And you're at 1. I'm going to play Thalia just to cut Todd off of 4 mana cards. Because I have 3 attackers now. The extra land lets me turn on Needle Spires.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
Go.
Is this yet another turn of... Oh, I guess you just a second snap, and then you have the path in the yard already. You 5 in hand, so if I activated and then slammed in, you would just get to snap path this, eat the Thalia, chump block the Daredevil, and I would effectively be trading these 2 cards for your Snapcaster Mage, which is not good. The other option I have is to extend to the board even further, which I think makes sense, because if Todd wraths the board, I have the Needle Spires.
Mm-hmm.
So let's play Blade Splicer, and you can't really like tap out to counter it.
Resolves.
Make a Golem.
Yep.
And then play Sunbaked Canyon. I guess I should have popped the Canyon first, but we'll draw.
Okay.
See if I... Okay, let's play Giver Runes.
Okay.
That one might get countered.
So you're at 15.
Yeah.
Trying to think of a world in which I actually win. So I think basically my route to victory is I should have none, pretty sure, because of the Giver of Runes. I was gonna say I might could like tap all your creatures and bounce Needle Spire, but you can actually
Give the Needle Spires protection.
So whatever. Play this.
I mean, if you have a land Baneslayer here, I think you win.
I don't.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Classic. All right. Well, we're super far behind. I kind of just want to call you the victor of this match so we can move on.
The other match is going to be pretty fast, I think. I think we can fit one more game in.
All right.
Yeah, let's
What
just
time is
shuffle
it?
up.
Little after 3. We'll play this one fast and loose.
I play most of my games fast and loose, so this is going to be sloppy.
Yeah. I play most of my games slow and loose.
Yeah.
You just have to play your lands like Roundtree. Just throw them around, vaguely tap them.
Yeah. Classic.
Congratulations to
Classic.
Roundtree winning the Invitational.
Do we know what kind of token he's going to get yet?
Servo.
Servo. Nice.
It took a lot of him and hawing because there's a lot of cards that we've made tokens for, and he kind of wanted to be, awesome.
Yeah. All right. I'm at 19. Ross is probably going to mulligan just because that's who he is as a person.
Now, if there was a tree token, I think he should have snapped that up. But
Tree?
yeah,
Why tree?
because he's Roundtree.
Ah, classic.
Come on.
What about a round token? Because he's round.
You know how.
I'm going to go to 17. Get
right.
Sacred Foundry.
1917.
You're up.
Stone Silence. Your turn. Get a face shot of Ross now because he's mad. Look at him, how mad he is. Just never going to win the marbles.
He has one Ashiok, one Stony Silence. Has drawn them every single post-cyber.
Why do you think I put them in the deck?
Every single
So
time.
I can draw them.
Well, you beat him senseless through a 1 last game. So.
That's true. And he complained the whole time.
Well, Cart's rough, man. He could have won sooner.
That's true. He could have won sooner. Oof. 15. Sure.
Oh, that doesn't do anything. Yeah.
That's true.
Play this one.
Yeah.
Attack.
18.
You can go. 15, 18.
Who's 15? Who's 18?
I'm at 18. He's at 15. Your turn.
Thank you. Gotta keep up.
Attack for 3.
13 or 15 all.
I'll go to 14 and play a Splicer.
Okay.
Go. Pass.
Clear Sunbait Canyon.
And you're at 15.
You're at 14.
Go to Plains.
Draw. Go.
Five in hand.
Yup.
Declare
Did you
tax.
fetch with the can? No, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Canyon got fielded.
Popped
Yep.
it.
I
Locked
was half paying attention.
it. Rest
Thanks, Big Richie. You made me
Resolves.
panic.
I will block
Thanks for looking out.
the 3 Guardian of Thraben.
Take 5.
I'm at 10. Sure.
Pass. Actually, I should play this land.
Play Lear Dawnbringer.
What land?
Attack for 4 and gain 4. 14 to 10. Flip flop.
Yep.
Your turn.
Go to 9. Let P and Kieran get some Thopters.
Okay.
You can go.
You can attack and give your thing
No,
pro white.
I'd rather block with Thopters and give them pro white.
Okay, pass your giver runes.
Give a Thopter pro white.
Hey, Ross, can we spell out the battlefield just a little bit? Thank you.
Am I dead if I attack? I'm at 14. Whatever. Attack with both. You're going to block this with the pro white. Take 4. You go to 6. I go to...
I go to 5. I took one off Canyon.
All right, you're at 5.
And you're
One Thopter
at
down.
18?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't die. It's pro white.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Because the other one didn't block. Go.
Should the other one block?
I doubt it. So you can start blocking and sacking.
Yeah. You right. You have 2 in hand?
I have 2 in hand. Here we go.
Draw a card.
Yeah.
Attack for 7.
I go to 11.
Hold on. So you're at 11.
Yep.
And I'm at 5.
Yep.
Yeah, you can go.
Draw. Snapcaster Mage.
Yep.
Path target. Pia and Kieran Noir. Attack for 9.
Block the Lyra. I go to 1. You go to 20?
Yep. Your turn. We do that so that he can't block and then sacrifice to prevent me from gaining life.
So, guess my only option here is to play Flicker Wisp.
So,
Flicker the Stony Silence.
Okay.
Pop the Clue.
Looking for Path to Exile.
Play Raven Inspector. Now I think I'm dead no matter what I draw next turn. Attack you with these.
We'll block the Blade Splicer, I guess. Take 4 to 16.
Got punished for trying to... I could have played the Flicker last turn and flickered the Pia and gotten a couple more Thopters, but I wanted to like sack and put a little bit more pressure on you. And just got punished from the removal spell. Which, like, Todd had to draw off the top for that play to get punished, right? If he has the removal spell, he can play it into speed.
Yep, I go to 25.
Yep.
Here we go.
Don't know what I can draw here. Because one removal spell won't do it. I don't have a flyer in my hand.
I'm going to click you. Just in case.
Ah.
I drew another land.
You can keep them.
The old, I don't know what I can have, doesn't matter. Good games, fella.
All right. They were pretty good games. I thought the fact that you fought through Stony Silence so well in game 2 was rather impressive. I got really lucky in game 1 with the main deck surgical extractions, taking out the Goblin Engineer's value there. Obviously, you flooded a bit with the Ether Vials, but you were able to put the mana to good use a lot of times thanks to Sunbait Canyon, various activated abilities on some of your cards like the Raven Inspector. And, I mean, we had a really long game, and it wasn't until I drew Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, that it was like I started to actually close the door. Before that, I drew a Jace. You had the answer to it with the Flicker Wisp and the Bolt. That was quite good.
Yeah, that game 1, I just sort of held in there. I never really felt like I could win or would win at any point in that game after you verdicted. Because I just didn't really have anything going.
Sure.
I think if I had drawn some of my more powerful cards at that point, like the remaining Sword, Pia, and Kieran, I would have had a shot. But like the singleton creatures just weren't doing enough. When I played a couple of them, you were able to snap Verdict again. I drew a couple of removal spells that game that were bad. Didn't draw the removal spells in the post-board games when I needed to kill the Angels, which is just the way it goes. But felt like Stony Silence was a problem. But there's not a lot of those going around right now. You only have the one.
Everyone has to focus on graveyards right now because of Hogak. So there's a chance that just like more artifact-based strategies, if those decks are good against the Hogak decks, might actually be really well positioned right now.
Yeah, and the graveyard will shut down Goblin Engineer, but that's it. If somebody's going to go to the incredible lengths and like bring in their rest in pieces to stop your Engineer, you can just board those out, leave in the Swords. The Swords are fine, and just have be a non-graveyard deck. So it's pretty easy to get away from Engineer if that's what you want to be doing. So don't really consider this a graveyard deck in any sense. Just had some issues dealing with Angels and then Stony Silence in the post-board games. But you beat the Stony Silence with a strong curve.
Yeah,
Thalia's still very good.
Yeah.
Especially in this matchup where your cheap removal is Path, so you don't really want to use it early on the Thalia. And if you do, I'm going to accelerate and start doing cool stuff.
Right. I mean, Thalia is quite good against this deck simply because my early spot removal is generally just Path to Exile. I mean, I have like a Detention Sphere, which costs 4, which is a huge amount. Sometimes I draw the Ouse, and whenever I draw Ouse, like it's quite strong against the Thalia specifically. But if I don't, I'm basically off curve for the rest of the game. Obviously, Restoration Angel helps with that, but that's kind of why it's in the sideboard. It kind of bridges the gap between like winning the super long game and buying you a lot of time in the early game, especially if you have a turn where you get to go resto block, untap, play Jace the Mind Sculptor or one of those Planeswalkers, and then you can protect it with Force and Negation and the blocker.
Yes. So that combination is just so great. Like being able to use your Force and Negation to protect all either the flash stand creatures or the planeswalkers. Like,
I mean, even in game 1, I got to use it to protect from a lightning bolt that was going to kill my Teferi here of Dominaria on 3. And if I didn't have the Force of Negation and you bolt the Teferi, I think you actually have a real shot at coming back. Like, my hand was like Dovin's Veto at that point or whatever, and the Force of Negation.
We're just sitting in a top deck war at that point. That's definitely a game I can win.
So I like the idea of the Goblin Engineer deck. Obviously, it suffers a little bit of splash damage from graveyard stuff from the Engineer. Maybe suffers a little bit of splash damage from artifacts. And maybe that's enough to make it so that maybe it's not like busted, right? Because it does have double splash damage potential. But cards that utilize the graveyard and cards that can occasionally tutor up artifacts are generally thought as quite good. And I'm curious to see where it can go because in game 1, if I didn't have the Surgical Extraction, you were just going to clown me with a Sword of Fire.
You're dead.
So, yeah.
Game's over. On the spot.
So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when we get a little more traction for these Goblin Engineers. But we do have one more match for the rest of the day. We're going to be playing
Slivers
with an exclamation point. I made sure to have that.
Not only did you make sure, I made sure.
Nice. And we're going to be pitting that up against Ryan Overturf's Mono Red Prowess deck. Now, this is a deck he's had some amount of success with on Magic Online. Just a lot of cheap creatures and burn spells and Bedlam Revelers, and no Arclight Phoenixes to be found. So I'm very curious to see how this deck goes. But we're going to get to more about that deck as well as your Slivers deck when we come back after the short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more Versus Live.